Alright, so here's a problem I always have in Create Aeronautics. So I'm here at my workshop doing something and I need to get something from my storage system over there. Alright, let me go get it. Alright, I have to run all the way over. Oh man, it's so far. It's taking such a long time. But okay, I'm finally here. There it is. Found it. Alright, one iron ingot. Now I gotta go back. Oh man, let's take this big long trip back again. I wish there was a better way. Oh well. Well, we're here now. Alright, now I can finally do it. Great, we did it. Wow, if only there was a better way to get around my base faster. So that took 68 iron nuggets. That's about 13.5 seconds of just travel. So yeah, let's try to use a vehicle to cut down that travel time a lot. So in my survival world, I built something like this little car. And it uses a diesel engine right here. This little vehicle, it's very compact and efficient, so I can just use this to get around my own base faster. And we can see how fast it is. Okay, I reset the timer, so let's try the same thing that we did before, going to the storage system and back using this vehicle. So I'll switch it on. All right, we go through there. All right, we got here. Let's pretend we just got something out of our chest. Now we gotta go back. And done. All right, and let's see. Only 24 items. So I cut down the travel time by like 7 or 8 seconds. But did you notice? There's something a bit wrong with the way I tested that. Because the time didn't start until after I'd already turned on the engine, gotten in, and clicked on the typewriter, or the controller. And then I went through the lasers to start the timer. And then, again, I left the engine running. You know, there's no way you'd leave the engine running when you go to your storage system. Then I went back. The timer still isn't going. Now it starts again, and I go back, and then now it ends. But then I still have the extra time to turn off the engine before I can actually do something. So there's a lot of hidden extra time that comes with having a vehicle like this. And that's why I made this small addition to it. I added this little thing that gives a redstone signal to the engine, so that turns it off. And then I hooked up my space bar to this redstone link, so that when I'm holding space, it inverts this so it turns on the engine, so that I can just click on this, go, and then when I'm holding space, it's on, and when I let go, it turns off. So that takes out the need to flip the lever. And that's basically what this video is about. I want to show you ways to make your vehicles more convenient and fast to use without focusing on just the actual speed of the vehicle. And this is the type of vehicle that I call like a bike or a golf cart or something, because it's not really a full car, it's just kind of a little thing that's meant to go pretty short distances, like within your own base. So the main thing is not about speed, but rather convenience. And this thing works really well. I really like it, but there are a few problems. And the main problem is that it uses a diesel engine, which for one, you might not even be using this mod in your mod pack, but also you need to get diesel and you need to make the engine, so that's kind of expensive. It would be nice to be able to make one earlier in the game. So I wanted to make something like this that just uses these normal portable engines. And it turned out to be a lot harder than I expected. I did end up making a bunch of designs that I think are actually really good, but I want to show you how I got there because it was really complicated and there were some really interesting decisions I had to make. So the first thing I made was something like this, and it's just a portable engine going into a directional gear shift, and that powers the wheels. And you can see each of the wheels has a redstone link on the front and back, and that's how it turns, and there's one on the top for braking. So let's see how this thing would work. So you'd come up to it, you'd take some fuel out of the chest, put it in the engine, hop on, and then go. But you'll immediately notice, oh, it's slow. It's so slow. This is slower than actually just walking. And that's not to mention the fact that I had all that extra time before I even crossed the start line of taking the wood out of the chest, putting it in the engine, and then going through here, I'll have to take it out, put it back in. And so, yeah, no, this is not gonna work. So we need to make some upgrades. So basically I had two problems. The first one is the actual rotation speed. And the second one is a way to get the fuel into the engine efficiently. Now the rotation speed is pretty simple. I can just use an analog transmission. But for getting the fuel into the engine, I came up with something really cool. And that's droppers. So normally in the Create mod, the way to get items into something is with like a chute or a funnel or something. But the problem with that is that this will just keep feeding fuel into the engine forever. There's no way to stop it. What we really want is a way to put in just the amount we need for right now and have that burn through. And then if we need more, we put more in. And that's what the dropper is great for. So I put a redstone link on the dropper so that every time I press space, it puts one item into the generator. And for the fuel type, I think using just normal wooden planks is really good because they're super easy to get and their burn time is pretty much just long enough to get from one place to another with just one plank without having too much extra fuel to spare, so it doesn't really waste anything. So with a design like this, I can just come up to it and press space. It'll put the fuel in. I can put as much as I want. I just come up, hit this, press space, and then just go. So that makes the whole process so much more efficient and saves a lot of time. It's like revolutionary. Now there's still a problem with this design. It's just not very compact anymore. See how long this is? So I went into the mines of designing. I tried making a whole bunch of different designs, and I eventually came out with these 4. So this is the smallest one I was able to make. This is kind of crazy. And the key to this design was realizing that I don't actually need an analog transmission, because this already runs at 32 RPM and I need it to get up to 64. So that just means I need to double it 1 time. And so I do that with these adjustable chain gear shifts, which I think nobody ever uses these, but they just let you double the speed. So I was able to make this tiny little thing, and it works totally fine. I just come in, click on the thing, I just press space to activate, and it goes. And this is faster than walking. And it's in this tiny little package. Look how tight it turns. This thing can get around your base perfectly fine. But it's also not that fast, so I wanted a version with 2 engines that could go twice as fast. And so this is the one I came up with. So there are 2 engines here, you can see there and there. And each one is fed by its own dropper. And then this one uses 2 different adjustable chain gear shifts to double the speed twice. For 2 engines that can go twice as fast. So you can do the same thing. Just hop on, press space, and go. And it's just a lot faster. Now, I love these designs. These are great. I think I'd totally use these in my survival worlds. But there is one downside, and it's that even though I don't have the analog transmission, which is made of brass, so there are no brass components on these, but it does have this adjustable chain gear shift, which does use quartz. So it's like almost pre-nether, but just barely not. So I felt like, surely I can cut these out and make it pre-nether. And that's what these designs are. So these ones just use gear ratios instead of the chain gear shifts to speed up. And so they're not quite as compact, but they still work fine, and they're a little bit cheaper. So let me show you. So here's our 1 engine version. Just hop on, just like the other ones, press space, and it goes. And then here's our 2 engine version, and just like the other ones, press space, and it goes. And again, this one is twice as fast as the other ones. So I think little vehicles like this are a total game changer for just more efficiently getting around your base and like the areas you spend a lot of time in. Because I just always find myself spending so much time walking back and forth to like my new project, to my storage room, to my workshop, and having an efficient little vehicle like this is just so much better. Now there's still one thing I kind of wanted to improve. It's that these are kind of wide. They're all like 5 blocks wide if you include the tires. And unfortunately, normally there's not really a way to make it any skinnier than that, but there are some sneaky little ways to get around that. So here I have some true 3 block wide designs. And this one uses a bit of a glitchy, cheaty technique, and that's using the swivel bearing on the bottom. And this basically allows you to have multiple blocks inhabit the same space. So you can see how it kind of looks glitchy like this. That's because there are actually 2 wheel mounts in the same spot. This vehicle does work, but I don't really like it. It feels like cheating to me. But there is another way to get a 3 block wide car like this without using the cheaty swivel bearing method. That's using this suspension key from the Tracks mod. So this lets you move your wheels in and out. So I use that to move all my wheels in closer to make it narrower. And this still does work as well. But as you can see, it's like kind of buggy. So this is just the same design as this one, the 2 engine one, except with the wheels pulled in. And something you might notice is it's way faster for some reason. You know, it's the same number of engines, same rotation speed, but for some reason pulling the wheels in closer makes it faster. And it also just makes it like kind of drift weirdly, and it like interacts weirdly when it goes over bumps and stuff. So I think this mod is just kind of buggy and broken. See, like, what is it doing there? Why is this falling off the edge? Yeah, I don't know. So unfortunately, the suspension key method from the Tracks mod, I don't love this one either. It just feels a little bit too buggy for my liking, even though it does go faster. So in my opinion, I just stick to the normal stuff. Even though it's wider, the wheels kind of go through walls anyway, so it doesn't matter that much. And it's still super compact, like, come on. Okay, so finally, let me show you how fast these things are in a realistic test of going back and forth to the storage area like I did before. So for this test, I'm gonna have the vehicle start in front of the line. So I have to start the time before I get there to turn it on. Then I'm gonna get off of the vehicle before I cross the line, then go to the storage area and come back through get on again, and come back. All right, ready, set, go. All right, stop here, go through. All right, we get something from our storage area. Now let's go back through, press space, get some fuel in the engine, and go. Time. And it looks like we got 81. So in this test, this vehicle actually ended up being slower than just running, but for a longer distance, it would probably be faster. But still, this is probably not that great. Okay, now let's try it with the 2-engine version. This one should be a lot faster. All right, same thing. Ready, set, go. All right, it's a lot faster this time. All right, we crossed. Now let's go. And we're back. Time. And we got 62 this time, so it's a lot faster. So compared to just running, this vehicle was just a little bit faster, but that's just at this distance. At a longer distance, it'll be a lot faster. And then the other hidden benefit is that you don't use any food to run back and forth like that. So you'll save a lot of resources and time farming that way. All right, let's also test our diesel one. Here we go. This one's a lot faster. Okay. And then to go back. Bam! So we got 62, so that's actually just about the same as our 2-engine version, even though it theoretically is supposed to go faster. I think that probably just came down to driving skills. There are a lot of like really small factors like how much you turn and how quickly you can get on and off that go into the actual speeds. And so there'll be a lot of variation. So overall, I think these golf carts are really useful if you have a really big base that you need to get around a lot. Of course, if you have a much smaller base, there's no point. You may as well just run. But I think they're a really cool design challenge. And I'd like to see if you guys could make something even better than these. Maybe one with more engines, one that's even more compact. Maybe use the cheaty method to make it, more narrow. But yeah, I'd love to see other people trying to do something like this. And maybe even design your whole base around getting around with a vehicle like this. Have wide enough roads everywhere, have things be spread apart with lots of decorations in between and stuff. That could be really cool. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. I've kind of been finding it hard to find actual practical uses for cars in Create Aeronautics, because most of the time they're only really useful if you build really long roads everywhere. But having this idea of just using it for your base, I think was a really cool idea. So I want to see if you guys can make any use out of it. And yeah, that's it. If you like this, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. See ya.